Here we go. Our first matchup. Group number 1 winner Scottie Scheffler faces off against group number 16 winner JT Poston. I haven't seen the odds yet. Scottie Scheffler is obviously going to be a heavy favorite in this matchup, but if Poston can find a hot flat stick, like he's kind of getting back on track, who knows? They were both 3-0 in group play.
Yeah, JT Poston is certainly capable, but the issue is that he's playing Scottie Scheffler, and it's so hard to see a path. You have to catch him on a rare bad day. But Scotty just plays so smart. He's not going to give you anything, and he will handle all the holes he needs to handle. He'll make birdie on the par fives and the wedge holes, and you're going to have to match him with that and sprinkle in a couple elsewhere. So, yeah, I got Scotty in this one.
The winner of that match will face the winner of Group 9, Group 8, which is Jason Day, Matt Kucher. We talked about it. Kuch is going for the record, and Jason Day might be one of the hottest players on the planet. A couple of savvy vets with a lot of match play experience.
Yes. Now, unfortunately, I think for Matt Kucher, Jason Day is not a good player to draw. He's hitting the ball so well right now. We talked about his driving. I think that's going to give Jason Day a big advantage because he's not only hitting it a lot longer than Kucher, but he is extremely accurate. He hasn't been missing a lot of fairways. So, and again, the strength of Kucher, those wedge play and putting, well, that's also the strength of Jason Day. So I think J-Day has the upper hand here.
Scottie Scheffler, Jason Day, Elite 8 matchup would be pretty sick. We'll see if that happens in the afternoon session or not. Bottom left-hand portion of this bracket. Max Homa, well-rested, gets Mackenzie Hughes, the highest seed out of Group 12. I don't think many people thought Hughes was going to go this far, and now he's got his hands full with Max Homa.
Yeah, Mackenzie Hughes is a scrappy competitor. But I do think Max Homa is really fresh. It was a big advantage for him not to play today, in my opinion. But he's got to, if he gets through Mackenzie Hughes, it becomes a big advantage. But Mackenzie Hughes is not an easy out. He's got to really pay attention. Of course, I like Homa in this one, but I would not be surprised here if, Max Homa's caught sleeping a little bit just because he's had a little, this is like the first round bye in the NFL playoffs, right? Is it a good thing when, you're resting some players or do you want to keep everything going forward? Max Homa didn't have that opportunity. I think Mackenzie Hughes comes in inspired.
We are starting to get some odds coming out here for these matchups. So, Scottie Scheffler, the biggest favorite on the board, minus 225 to JT Poston's plus 175. Jason Day is the favorite, minus 163 to Matt Kuchar's plus 130. Max Homa, minus 175 to Mackenzie Hughes's plus 140. This next matchup, Sam Burns and Patrick Cantlay. Let's talk about firepower. Those are two top seeds colliding in the Sweet 16. Cantlay, minus 143 to Sam Burns' plus 115.
Yeah, I think for, this one, it's not a great number for Cantlay, honestly. This one, I'm looking at, it could have been a pick'em almost. Both playing really well, very comparable styles of game, I would say. I do like Cantlay in this, although with that number, I may sway towards the side of Sam Burns. I just love what I've seen out of Cantlay so far with the wedge play. And I know what he can do on the greens. I think he can match Sam Burns on the greens, but with that number, it may be a smart play to pick Sam Burns.
The other side of the bracket, Group 2, Group 15, that's Billy Horschel and Cam Young. We've been talking about it, Greg. Cam Young, obviously, firepower beyond belief, but Billy Horschel, don't forget, won this event 2 years ago.
Yes, you can never sleep on Billy Horschel. Cam Young knows that. But for Billy Horschel, he's going to have to do a whole lot more than he did today against Jon Rahm. If Cam Young doesn't make any birdies in tomorrow's match, I will be absolutely stunned. Absolutely stunned. It's not going to happen. Cam Young is on fire right now, and he's going to be you're probably going to see him on Sunday playing at some point.
Group 10, Group 7. Kurt Kitayama, the 19 seed, will face off against Andrew Putnam. This is the closest match, according to the odds makers. Kurt Kitayama, tiny favorite, minus 115 to Andrew Putnam's minus 105. So this is the closest one we've got.
Yeah, I probably lean a little bit towards Putnam. The one thing I worry about, Kitayama is such a tough competitor. But the one thing I worry about with him is a little bit of inconsistency. from time to time. I feel like we get really high highs and really low lows with Kitayama. And I love what Andrew Putnam has been doing on the greens. And I think he may be able to sneak by Kitayama.
Xander Schauffele out of Group 6 faces JJ Spawn. Odds makers have JJ at plus 150, Xander at minus 188. Both of them, however, Greg, have yet to lose this week.
Yeah. Boy, there's a lot of that on this board. This is a tough one for me. I've been overlooking JJ Spawn the entire week. I really have, but what he showed me making those 4 birdies on his last 4 holes today was some really impressive stuff. I'm a huge fan of Xander and his game, and I feel like Xander is ready to do some real damage in a big one. So I'm going to say Xander Schauffele just to stick with the theme here of overlooking JJ Spawn, but I don't feel very confident about it.
Rory McIlroy and Lucas Herbert face off in the final Sweet 16 matchup of the day. Rory McIlroy, obviously a big favorite, the second biggest favorite on the board, minus 200 to Lucas Herbert's plus 162. So you talked about it a little bit earlier, Greg. Things starting to click for Rory, and he's obviously already one of the best players in the world.
You know, this is one of those situations where Lucas Herbert has been hot on the greens and he's filling it up and winning all these matches and really inspired. And there's just this one time when you run into somebody who outclasses you and you know it. And all of a sudden the magic starts to cool off and it can get ugly. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I think Rory's advantage here is just far too great. And I won't be the only one saying that. So it's definitely no offense to Lucas Herbert, but I think it's going to be a really challenging situation for him to get past Rory McIlroy.
By this time tomorrow, when we do our recap episode, we will be down to 4. We're going to go 16-4. So Greg, let's just put it out there, man. Like, which 4 are we going to see on Saturday night? It's easy. It's easy to say Scotty Day. Well, I guess it's not that easy to say because Homa and Cantlay and oh man. All right. Well, I don't know.
So I do think Scotty gets into the final 4.
Me as well.
I do think Rory gets into the final 4. I do think Cam Young gets into the final 4. So I just have this inkling that Xander's going to lose to JJ. I mean, it's hard to realistically rationalize it, but I just have a feeling JJ wins. Now the path for Rory, assuming he can win, which I obviously am, the path for Rory gets pretty easy. And I think easy is the wrong word, but it's a lot lighter than the path that Scotty Scheffler will have. It's a lot lighter than the path for Burns or Cantlay.
There's going to be a weird one. It's going to be Putnam, or it's going to be Hughes, or it's going to be Herbert. There's going to be a weird one.
I think it comes out of that lower left. The Homa. Can Mackenzie Hughes come out of that group?
I don't know. I think so. I mean, that's a pretty. I mean, Homa, Burns, Cantlay is 3
a gauntlet,
and then Mackenzie. I want to say it's Kitayama. I love Kitayama, but Cam Young is a demon right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you could beat Cam Young.
All right.
I want to see Rory Cam Young. That's what I really want.
Well, what I would love to see is Scheffler, Homa, Rory, Cam Young. That's what I would love to see. But I'm going to go with Scotty. Oh, God. Kitayama, Burns, and Rory.
All right.
I actually I love Homa, but I worry a little bit about the day off, quite honestly.
I do too, which is irrational.
It's stupid.
But before that, he didn't really have to do. This has been kind of a coaster. He's been coasting.
Yeah, he has not played that well.
Which is nothing against him. He hasn't had to. He hasn't made mistakes. He just hasn't really gotten hot yet. All right, I'm going to find my final answer. Scotty, Young, Rory, Hughes.
Okay. I mean, it could be when we come back tomorrow and it's Poston, Hughes, Herbert, and Putnam. We're going to be like, oh, yeah, now I know why they canceled this event.
Yeah. And it could happen.